Hello and welcome to Check 24. I'm Anelise Borges. Coming up, the no deal for Dailymotion. The video sharing site is at the center of an uproar after the French government blocked its sale to Yahoo. We'll discuss the future of France's technology sector in this edition. And in Test 24, we take a close look at this year's most anticipated smartphone, the Samsung Galaxy S4. But before we get to these stories, let's take a look at some online video sharing statistics. The figure of the week is brought to you by Le Journal du Net.
If you want to become the king of online video, you'd better be a pop star first. Out of the 30 most viewed videos on the internet, 29 are music videos. Gangnam Style by South Korean singer Psy is in fact the only video to have exceeded 1 billion views. One exception, however, Charlie Bit My Finger again. The video was viewed over 500 million times, featuring 2 young children who, thanks to the internet, have become famous worldwide.
It is perhaps the no deal of the year. Last week saw Yahoo's bid to acquire Dailymotion collapse after French Industrial Renewal Minister Arnaud Montebourg intervened in the negotiations. The government's move sparked enraged criticism, and now France Telecom will have to search for another partner to help Dailymotion grow abroad. French Industrial Renewal Minister Arnaud Montebourg has said no. Dailymotion is estimated to be the 12th largest online video site with an audience of more than 110 million unique visitors a month. But it won't merge with international giant Yahoo, after all. Yahoo has sought to expand its video offering, but its efforts were rebuffed last week when Montebourg rejected its proposal to acquire a 75% stake in the successful French company.
Yahoo wants to devour Dailymotion. We told them no. It will be 50-50.
The push for a more balanced partnership with 50-50 ownership led the talks between Yahoo and Dailymotion to collapse, leaving France Telecom to search for another partner to help Dailymotion grow abroad. Chief Executive Stéphane Richard says state intervention was inappropriate.
Dailymotion is a unit of France Telecom and not of the state. It is the company, its management and board that should manage this issue.
The failed deal made headlines throughout much of the American press. The Wall Street Journal said the government's reaction reflected nationalist prejudice. France's technology sector is one of the economy's bright spots, with the country's ranking 3rd in Europe behind the UK and Germany in terms of venture capital investment last year. Now, to help us better understand the implications of this no deal, I'm now joined by Séverin Naudet, former vice president for Dailymotion. Thank you very much, first of all, for joining us today.
Thanks to you.
You wrote a column for the French magazine Le Point, and where you described this episode, and you said the French government committed, I quote, une belle connerie, a stupidity. What do you mean by that?
Well, I have been very shocked by the fact that the government obviously took a decision where it doesn't seem to understand the market first, how the digital economy is working, and the consequences for Dailymotion first and for the rest of the digital French market. And so I think that they just don't understand that we need to grow our digital economy internationally, and so that's why I thought it was a very, very bad decision.
And the Yahoo deal would have valued Dailymotion at around $300 million. Analysts are saying that was pretty much the only chance of forming a legitimate alliance to compete as an alternative to Google and YouTube. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that for me, that was a huge chance for Dailymotion to become a big player, a worldwide player. And we have to understand that US companies have a huge domestic market and territory, so they can be a worldwide leader, only using the US market. The French companies, we have a small market, and we need to grow internationally to go from a French champion to a worldwide champion. So for me, that was more a big chance for Dailymotion to go global and to be worldwide, and that was also, I mean, very that was very nice to see a major player, a major US player, come in France and pick a French company to compete with Google and YouTube, of course.
And there's talk in France of focusing on measures to promote investment. President François Hollande said, I quote, his first duty is to stimulate the spirit of businesses and initiative in this country, unquote. My question is, if that's the case, doesn't the government intervention at this level in a Yahoo Dailymotion deal kind of strike you as contrary to to the image that they're trying to convey?
Well, it's a terrible message. It's a terrible signal. First of all, it's a terrible signal for the French investors. It says, well, don't put money in startups because at the end you won't sell them. And if you're foreign investors, just don't come in France to look at what we do, because eventually the government will break a deal that you want to make if you want to buy a company. So it's terrible for our economy, local, and to make the economy global. It's very, very wrong signal for everybody.
And what, in your opinion, needs to be done differently in the French tech segment to ensure it remains relevant and competitive?
I think that the French digital market is gathering the best technicians and very good products and very good services. I mean, we have a very good ecosystem in France here in the digital economy, and people around the world knows it. That's why Yahoo came to France and had a look on Dailymotion. Our problem is more the understanding of our government on the way that we have to promote it, to go out of France, and the way to build the right environment for our ecosystem, especially on the tax issues.
All right, thank you very much, Olander, for joining us today. And we're going to have to move on now because it's time for Test 24. This year's most anticipated smartphone is now available for purchase. The Samsung Galaxy S4 has been dubbed the most powerful and desirable device Samsung has created yet. It has a 5-inch Full HD display and a faster processor, plus 4G, Bluetooth 4.0, NFC, and pretty much any other connection that you can think of. Marc has got one on hand and is here to test it for us. Marc, what, in your opinion, is the most unique new feature?
Well, you've mentioned a couple of things that we loved, really. The quality of the screen. Have a look at that. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful, crystal clear. Probably my favourite thing was air gesture, which I think will be very, very useful. That means when you receive a phone call, say you're doing the cooking, your wonderful Brazilian food, cooking away, and you don't really want to be picking up a phone whilst you're cooking. You can just gesture, and you'll be able to talk, and that's helpful when driving or eating or anything like that. An
interesting aspect is the fact that Samsung may find a new client in the US government. The Samsung Galaxy S4 has earned the Pentagon security nod. Is that something that we can all benefit from?
I think at some point, I mean, they're very clever, the guys at Samsung. At the end of the day, they've got this Knox security, like Fort Knox, and it means that they can separate and make they use extra encryption, and it's extremely difficult to break through. And when I first read that, I thought to myself, are they going into the BlackBerry market? Like what BlackBerry was famous for, and why businesses and corporations use BlackBerries is because they have extra encryption, and it's a lot harder to break into those phones, and therefore they want every piece of every pie. I think Samsung, they're it's a very clever idea, I think, with that.
And how did you rate the phone?
Well, design, appearance, gave it a 7 out of 10. It's beautiful, but the plastic back isn't really what I like. I think it could be slightly better with that. Very easy to use. I found it very easy, even though I only had it over the weekend. It was very good. Value for money, I mean, you're talking sort of £500, 600 euros for something. 5 out of 10, and overall 7 out of 10. It's a good phone, and it's going to sell a shed load.
All right, thanks for that, Marc, and thank you for watching this edition of Tech 24. That's all we have time for, but we leave you today with the world's smallest movie. IBM scientists unveiled what they called a boy and his atom. Last week, the movie tracks the movements of atoms magnified 100 million times. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.